Hello there, welcome to Club Nintendo. I'm here with Benjamin Aquino, and we're here to discuss Xenoblade Chronicles 2. This is a full-out spoiler cast. Before we get to the spoilery stuff, we will have some, preliminary stuff we'll dive into. Welcome, Benjamin.
Hey, welcome. I mean, thank you.
All
All
good.
kinds of
That's
disheveled.
you go to
Yeah,
Panera Bread and they say, enjoy your food. It's like, you too. It's like,
yeah, exactly. But thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So I've seen you. I follow you on Twitter, and you have been tweeting a lot about Xenoblade 2. And both John and Aaron have not dove into that game quite yet. So I wanted to
Okay.
have someone on that is as obsessed with it as I am, I guess. Right.
Yeah,
um,
I was just playing it before, we were we got on here too. So, yeah, I'm definitely obsessed.
so we've both finished the story. I guess that's fair to say.
Yes.
What? We'll do some non-spoilery stuff at the beginning here. What?
Okay.
I guess. What do you love most about this game? What about this game?
I
Draws
think
you in.
it's going I think it's going to be the rare blades, to be quite honest. I just love that aspect of the game that you could go throughout this game and have a totally different experience than somebody else because of the amount of time investment and how much you want to basically obtain these rare blades. And you could get a couple ones that I don't have. Spoiler, I'm missing two only in the main drop. And
Props. That's impressive. I have been. So I don't think that I used all the legendary crystals I had and just got commons. That is the most, I guess,
uh,
frustrating part of this game is a legend crystal should give you a rare blade no matter what. Like I feel the ratio is a bit off.
I guess I can understand that to a point, but with the amount of rare blades there are, even though there's a decent amount, I don't think there is enough to warrant a rare blade for every legendary because you actually get a bunch of legendary crystals throughout the game. And if they
So
did
I
it
got
that
three.
way,
Is there a way to farm them better? Are there missions that I'm missing out on?
yes, there are, though I haven't done that yet because again, I had most of mine. I'm just missing two. I want to level my characters up a little bit more. There is actually, from what I researched online, there is a quest in Gorma, the second Titan that you go
Mm-hmm.
to. And in the farm area there's this quest that they look a little funny. They look like a trophy symbol, like a trophy.
Yeah.
And you have to provide food for this one monster and let it grow.
Hmm. Okay.
So the more you do that, then it can eventually grow up to its maximum level of level 90 or 99, and it becomes a unique monster. And from what I understand, that is the absolute best way to farm legendary core crystals if you're smart enough and you do not kill it early in the game.
Ah.
So,
Okay. Interesting.
yeah.
Now, what's your experience with the Xenoblade Chronicles series? We've had the Wii and 3DS iterations, the original, and X for the Wii U. Have you played those? Have you finished those? What's your experience prior to this?
So I did play a little bit of Xenoblade Chronicles 3D. I do have
Mm-hmm.
that digitally on my 3D, a new 3DS XL, and I liked it, but the the visuals are jarring to me.
Yeah,
Even on that,
that's
I
fair.
can't get past it. So I haven't been able to pick that up. Now, if that got an HD remaster, I'm totally on board. But that version, it's just hard for me to get into it. The story seems okay, the gameplay seems okay, but the visuals take me out of the experience.
Yeah.
I did have a Wii U before I sold it for my
Oh, so it is
towards my
sold.
Switch.
Okay.
It's sold. I know your collection when it comes to most of your, at least your 3DSs and stuff like that. So
Yeah, I've
I'm
a
not
lot
that
of
kind of
backup, a
person.
lot of backup hardware for 3DS,
Yeah,
but
I
I
don't
have
think I could do
digital
that.
games, so that doesn't do me much good. Yeah.
I guess it.
Um,
But I did play the Xenoblade Chronicles X to answer your question there, and I loved it. I never completed it, but I invested probably about 120 hours into that game, and I got really far. One of
yeah.
the biggest things I kind of regret selling my Wii U for
Before you
because of
finish the story. Yeah.
yes. So
Yeah, it's
um,
amazing how many hours you can put in and still not finish the story to these games.
because they branch out so much with their side quest, and you get kind of invested in like, oh, I want to finish this, and then something else comes, and I want to finish that, and it's a never ending cycle, but it's good, so I
Yeah,
don't mind.
yeah. I've myself dove back into Xenoblade Chronicles 1 after finishing 2. It encouraged me. I started so my 3DS, I had a save file, and I looked at my Wii U and had the Wii Virtual Console, or actually the disc. I have the disc booted in there. I noticed I was at the exact same save spot for both games. That's where I got stuck, evidently,
Okay.
and much higher level than the Wii version. And it had Japanese audio, so I decided let me. So I'm doing on the Wii basically. I'm doing the Wii version. That is, I
Okay.
guess, the better version graphically and
Mm.
big TV, all that good stuff. So I've made a fair bit of progress since finishing 2, and I'm pushing onwards, and I will be finishing 1 the next week or two, I'm sure.
Oh,
So
that's awesome.
that's
I,
great.
I really want to do that if I could get past it. I don't know, something hopefully will give, but I never got to play the Wii version, and I'm sure that would be better for me if I had
Yeah, it is.
that.
It's a better experience, I'd say for sure. And the story is great, and all of that. So yeah, I have played X, but again, I stopped. At some point in the middle of the story, and that's the case with Xenoblade 1. I stopped somewhere fairly early on in Xenoblade 1, and I picked it up again at some point. This is my third time to try to actually finish it. So 2, I'd say, is that's like a really great place to start because, for me at least, it is such a polished and, I guess, focused game that uh,
Mhm.
you can. I feel this one's easier to finish, even though it's a good. I think my game clock was at like 140, 130 hours before I finished it. So it's not
Okay.
quick, but
Yeah.
it felt quicker.
Now, when it comes to the game clock, just a little side note, there actually are two
Oh,
different
yes.
times. I don't know, you realize that the time that your Switch tells you played the game and the time
Mm.
in the game, and that I found out was because of the Merc missions. To be
Yeah,
honest.
so that is another thing. Like, I was probably 110 hours for the story. And as you said, the Merc missions, this game encourages you to just have the game running all the time.
Hmm.
Like, so when I'm watching TV, I'm just gonna throw in some Merc missions, let my guys go out, level
Yep.
up, do some missions. You're always playing the game, even when we're not playing it. It's kind of like a mobile game in that way of the Merc missions. Of there is these time-based missions. Your characters go out. You choose which ones go out. You can pick different ones to speed up the Merc missions. But
Hmm.
I actually like that. Like,
I
it's
did
an
too.
aspect. Yeah, you're not. It encourages you to always open the game, even if you don't have time to play it. Like, it's
Exactly.
crazy.
You're always invested in the game. And I really appreciated that. I did so many multitasking things just like that, either switching to TV, like, if it's on my input there, I just switch inputs, go to TV, or I'm doing something on my 3DS and I'm letting it play in the background and listening to the
Yeah,
music
I've
playing.
got Merc missions running right now. I got
Yeah.
three run right now. Yeah, so I got to level 5 before I finished the game.
Hmm.
And yeah, the Merc missions was something I focused on a lot, and it helps you level up. So they took
Yes.
away. So the original Xenoblade, you got experience from just visiting locations, which was great, and I'm loving that. I actually went from level 44 to 45 entirely based on locations as I was traversing an area to get to the next part of the story, which is crazy. I didn't fight
Yeah,
anybody. I'm
that's
just
cool.
going through and exploring. And but in this game, what they did is Merc missions. That's a good way to level up, I'd say.
They do kind of tie that in, maybe not experience per se, but a lot of the blades actually have, especially the rare blades, do have an encouraging part to unlock there by visiting locations. I just did one today for Finch. It's like he's the bird, blue green bird or something like
Yeah.
that. That's called has a bird brain ability. But one of his ones was to force me to go. I can't remember some place, I'm going to say Tonsil or something, and
Yeah.
find one of the hidden locations. So this place has hidden locations in every single Titan or continent, or however you want to determine, talk about them. And I didn't know where this existed. So I really went around today and I was able to find that. And then, of course, unlock that part of the affinity chart. So that does play into a part, like you were saying about how the original gives you experience. This is giving you a way to unlock parts of your affinity chart. So
Yeah, and I love the rare blade side quests of
yes.
there's these heart to hearts with them. They have this whole mission of leveling their affinity up. I guess my favorite one so far has been. Have you unlocked a Wolfric yet?
Wolfric.
He's
Yes, of course, of course.
the,
But
the Vol-
I think that's one you get in the game. He's like really black, right?
yeah,
And
yeah. You get him in the game.
yeah, yeah,
I did.
yeah.
Okay, I wasn't sure if that was a random. I forget at this point. But there's a part in the game, Heart to Heart, where minor. I guess this is a minor spoiler. I'll say. There's this little thing where Wolfric's ashamed of how ugly and scary he is, so
Yeah.
he'll have. Rex, I think, like suggests, "Hey, walk this old lady home," and it's like just one of the most quirky, great moments in the game.
Oh yeah. That's what I think, like I said, especially me, because I had so much experience with all these rare blades. You get to see how much personality they gave these blades, and that's what helps the investment to this game even more than other games, because yeah, you have a party of what, five technically,
Mm-hmm.
but you also have a party of these other rare blades that you can decide how much time investment that you want to have into them, and then you grow with them, and your party is huge, and you really end up liking them because their personalities are so varied. It's great.
Now, you're able to get rid of blades. Do they eventually limit? I haven't ran into a limit of being capped out of too many blades in my group. Does that happen?
It does.
Okay.
I don't know the number because I didn't actually sit there and count. There's no easy number.
Yeah.
You would have to see how many rows you are and all that stuff. But when you try to unlock more and more blades, especially when you're trying to do the commons and the rares and all that stuff, and just trying to get yourself, a legend or whatever, it goes really quick. So I've run into that a couple times already.
Okay.
And so it does that.
Yeah, I'm waiting till the patch comes out to start using my like hundreds of core crystals because I don't want to wait as long.
Yeah, I think that's a great feature that they're adding to that, being able to skip that animation. So those who have beat the game and now are just wanting to invest more time and get the stuff that they missed, in 100% completion or whatever,
Yeah.
they shouldn't have to be penalized at that point. So I totally think that that's good. And also, they're letting you lock them so that you don't accidentally delete them. That should have been there from the get-go, because I've found myself almost
so you don't
them.
delete a rare on accident?
Yeah.
I can't imagine. Wow. So there's New Game Plus coming out, and part of that is it resets all your side quests, right? So
I believe so, yes.
Yeah. So I kind of want to do New Game Plus, but that also has me not really incentivized right now to do the missions. I'm kind of holding off on those. I did some. I'm working on one now related to the Poppy character. We'll talk about when we get into more spoilery stuff.
Okay.
But I'm mainly focused on playing Xenoblade 1 and then X, probably. Then I'll do New Game Plus. But
it's such a meaty experience I'm on the fence with that too. I'm like, should I do New Game Plus? But they're bringing so much more content, and I don't know if you have the DLC.
I will by the time the story DLC hits.
Okay. They have some missions there now that you can do that give you some benefits in the game, but right, it's not anything overly crazy. But I decided to get that, and that actually did help me get some of the rare blades because they do give you some legendary core crystals too, just as a FYI.
Do you remember what level your characters were when you finished?
I believe around 65 to 70.
Okay. Yeah, I was around 70 or so. I'm just curious for you. Now, the battle mechanic, it's an evolved version of what was in the other two games. And as I'm playing the original game, it's making me appreciate 2 that much better because it's a better experience, the battle system. Especially after you learn it. As I chatted you on Twitter a little bit as I was struggling with the very final boss. I'm not going to talk about the final boss.
Okay.
I'm going to talk about the fact that I went the full 130, 110 hours of gameplay, without realizing how to stack elemental orbs or even create them. The fact that if you look in the top right corner, there's these icons there. I kind of ignored them for all that time. I would hit the ZL or ZR when things popped up, but I didn't really know what I was doing until right, yeah. So I don't know. I must have skipped that tutorial. So I had a much harder playthrough, not really understanding the combat system. So,
Yeah.
do you want to? I don't know. Do you want to explain how the combat system works for people that aren't familiar?
I won't make you feel too bad because there is the last part of that whole thing, what you're talking about, stacking orbs, and I'll go into detail in a minute. But there's the last part of that I actually didn't know until probably 3 days ago. And once you're stacking these orbs, what you can do to get your maximum damage, and that's like the plus attack. So I didn't even know how that worked. I really had no clue. I was doing really good damage because I knew the first part of it, but I had no idea how to really set it home because I saw all these pictures on Twitter of people getting these crazy amounts of damage build up. So I'm like, what is this screenshot? They said all this damage. How did you get that? How did you get almost 1 million or whatever?
Yeah, my last
points of damage?
my last kill was 2,400,000 or something. That was my final hit. Yeah.
Yeah, so I didn't know how you got that. Yeah. So if anybody who's familiar with the original, it's an auto-attacking game, basically. But in this one, in comparison to the first game, you can't run an auto-attack. So when
I discovered that early on. I was like running around and getting killed by one of the bosses. Like, why is it not attacking? Because I had a health healer. Well, I was like, I'll run and attack at the same time. It's great, but it does not work.
No.
Yeah.
And but I kind of like that because I think that could, not that I played the first one that much, but I could cheapen the experience a little bit if to be able to run an attack. This kind of forces you to like make decisions. So you have to, you're sitting still, you're auto attacking. Every time you auto attack, your special gauge is yeah, I guess there's your special gauge. I'm trying to think. Yeah, skills and special gauges. I'm not sure which is what's called what. So let me.
Yeah, you're leveling ones that go 1 through 4. That builds up as you do the auto attack, right?
Well, the auto attack is letting you use one of 3 buttons. That
the arts. Use, the arts, I think.
The arts. There you go. I would, at the naming conventions, I'm not sure of. So when you're auto attacking, you're building up your arts so that you can actually activate them and use them. Once you use an art, you're leveling up your skill, I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Your skill.
Your elemental attack.
Yeah, your elemental attack. Yeah. Because we didn't really touch on that, but all of these do have their own elements. So, your elemental attack can go from level 1 to level 4. Level 4 is the maximum. But your whole goal here is to basically with your teammates. So once you get a level 1, you can
your internet is,
and then
it's breaking up right now.
That's going to start as soon as the level 2 blades. Okay.
Your internet, can you hear me?
Let me know if
are you there?
Hearing, let me see. Anything better?
It's there.
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay, 1, 2, 3.
Let me see. I'm the bandwidth. I can hear you. Can you hear me? No.
Now it's good. I think. Yeah.
It's good now.
Yeah, now it's good. Okay.
Okay, so I turned down my bandwidth because maybe something else is going on, just so you can hear the audio better.
Yeah.
So, okay.
That's great. Start over with the the going from 1 to 2 to 3 and how that all works.
Okay, so once you use your arts, then you can build up your elemental gauge, and that goes from level 1, 2, 3, and 4. You want to stack these up in accordance to their level. So you have level, you can initiate that or force initiating the ZR or ZL button.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then once that happens, you will see a screen pop, a little menu pop up in the upper right-hand corner of your screen, and it's going to go over the elements. So you can see clearly what element you activated, and then what element can stack with it. So
Like
for
a
example,
roadmap kind of where
yeah,
you
exactly.
need to head.
Yes, exactly. For example, like I think fire and water kind of work together, and they can lead into water and air, and certain ones work better with other ones. For example, light and dark are the hardest to pair with other elements. So,
Right. Yep.
so once you get level 1, then you have a timer that's counting down before you have to activate a level 2 to keep the combo going.
Yeah.
Same thing, once you activate a compatible level 2, you can try to get a level 3 compatible to
And
activate.
three's where it caps out as far as the combo is concerned.
Yes, and you have to do a quick time event.
Yeah.
The button presses B, it's either usually tapping or just waiting for a certain moment and pressing B at the right time.
Yeah.
And then at that point, whatever element that was that you finished on the level 3 is going to cause an orb to circle around your enemies.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you ended with an ice, you have an ice orb, and then you do that whole process again and ended with a fire or whatever, all the different elements you have. Well, this is where I didn't know how to do anything more. This is where I told you I capped out at myself.
Okay. Yeah.
But
now I figured out. So from here, when you can do a chain attack, and you do the opposite. Like if there's a fire orb, you would do a water attack to burst it. Now that part I figured out very early on in the game. I figured out the whole bursting thing. Okay. I didn't know how those things got there. So in the final boss fight, it was giving me a lot of difficulty. So it's like, how the heck does this whole system work? Orbs, and so I ended up in the final boss fight having 7 orbs, bursting all of them. I think there's 8 total orbs. How many orbs are there, you think?
Well, there's light, there's dark, there's earth, there's wind, there's water, there's fire, there's
ice. You had ice already.
Ice and lightning. So 5.
Lightning.
6, 7,
okay.
Yeah.
I think I missed lightning. So I had dark, fire, earth, water, wind, light, and ice. So I missed all but one orb. But that. So this awesome. This was at a point where I'd probably fought this boss like 15 times, just getting so frustrated. So the stacking of the orbs is just killer if you can manage it. And part of that is picking the right crew, right? So yeah, you have to pick each of the blades. You want to have unique elements, and that's a really important strategy point that I didn't even consider when I was choosing my team originally.
And there's also a second part to that, not just the elements that really make a difference, but you have to really know what kind of attacks they have, because part of the damage that you're going to increase is if you can actually break a foe, topple a foe, and launch and then smash a foe. So if you can do those 4, if you have it set up with your team, you're great in the game. You can really accomplish a great amount of damage, and you can get rare items, such as you can get your enemies to drop rare and legendary crystals that way.
Yeah. And I heavily favored healers in my crew, I should say. I think all of Rex's blades that I put with him, they were all healers. I would have a healer as a second blade. Like I was very concerned of all of that. So I played it safe with that.
So you didn't rely really on Nia's strength, I guess.
I had Nia as I had Nia as one of my. So out of the 3 characters, I'd have her. I'd have Tora as a character. I'd have Nia as a character. And we'll talk about other. And let's dive into spoilers. Spoiler warning, spoiler horn, everything from here on out. We'll talk about anything and everything.
Okay.
So Nia, I didn't really use her as a blade at all.
No?
No, I would use her as a character. that she would fight alongside me.
Well, I didn't want to pigeonhole her as a Blade just because I got her as a Blade, but I thought her Blade and her story was fantastic. I'm just going to say I didn't know what was going on in that water scene. I'm like, what is going on? This game is so quirky sometimes and a little risque sometimes too. I'm like, what is going on?
Yeah, which is a big change from the original Xenoblade. The original Xenoblade did not even attempt to go there. This is anime in mostly great ways, but I could have done with not as far down that rabbit hole with some of that stuff.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean the one-eyed monster or something joke that they had in there
Yeah,
was
and the costumes
I found
could
it.
do better and all that. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, I would prefer a different skin outfit for some of these characters.
Uh, that's something that they could have in the DLC, but I'm okay with that because I'm a huge anime buff. Like I love anime, so I'm used to this style of like woman being represented and stuff like that.
Yeah,
So it
I love
doesn't,
anime,
yeah,
but yeah, it's I want. It's like I wouldn't feel comfortable playing that with like if I had a kid in the room or like other people. Like it's just a weird thing to have on the TV if I was playing.
it's true.
Yeah,
It's true. They have those physics. I get it. I understand.
but yeah, I mean, I'll look past that because the the game is like it's. I'd say it's my game of the year from last year. It's like it's so good.
It is very good. I can see myself playing so many more hours. But getting back to Nia, I I really did like her as a Blade because she's very, very powerful. And since you didn't have her as a Blade long, I don't know if you've ever activated her specific combo that she has or art or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
She has one that she pairs with either Mithra or Pyra that you have to level up them both their trust because we didn't talk about trust in this game because trust is a big thing.
Mm-hmm.
When the wave between you and your blade is shining white or yellow or whatever it is with full energy. But if you get Nia and Pyra or Mithra full trust and you get them up to level 3 or level, I think it's maybe even level 4, they do a specific attack together, which is amazing. Like Rex uses both of their blades on both with one hand each, and they do something together. It is amazing. So that was really fun. And if you haven't done that, you really should.
Okay. I was gonna say, at the end of the game when I was figuring out the whole elemental thing, it really clicked for me right then and there. Oh, Pyra is both fire and the Nia of the light. It's like that's really awesome.
Yeah.
That really is kind of like it's like that's makes sense. That's why this is such an awesome thing to have.
And since we're saying, since you talked about them, you're talking about Pyra. What did you think about when Pyra, went green?
What's that?
When she went green, basically, I guess.
I love that moment in the story. It's like, oh my god, yeah. From then on, the story just escalated where it was just like, this is just such an amazing story. When I started the game, it's like, okay, this is a pretty decent story, but the character development, you really care about all these characters, and the game makes you care about characters you once hated. Jin, I cried when he died. Jin was
really?
like, yeah, I was like, oh my god, I hated that character until he turned until they started diving into his character and they made you really care about characters that you once didn't like, and the transformation of Zeke from this clown to this serious dude.
Yeah. I really ended up liking Zeke. But getting back to Jin for a moment, in the beginning, I just thought he was like a Sephiroth clone. I love Final Fantasy VII. I'm like, this guy is no Sephiroth. But then they had him join your party for a little bit. You get to hear about him and his driver. And oh man, I was just like, okay, I understand. You understand.
Yeah. And then there's this concept of blade eaters and flesh eaters.
Yeah, that took a little bit to kind of comprehend, I gotta say, because I'm like, okay, when they were talking about Nia, when you figured out what she was, like, oh, so she is was she considered a blade? No, a flesh eater, right? Because she was a blade that ate a human soul. Okay, so I was like, okay, so that's how it works. But I thought that was really cool too. So I mean, I guess the only thing that's a little confusing there is they kind of touch on it, but don't like. They kind of touch on the fact that Rex has a thing for Pyra, right? And they don't, and that they can eat each other's soul, but it's like, okay, to me, my mind kind of goes a little further. Okay, well, how does this really work? Can they really be a couple, quote unquote? Like, how can does that happen in this world? Is there babies that are half blades? You know what I mean? Because they could have taken it there, basically. And
Neo was really into Rex, and there were some weird, interesting moments of that.
Yeah. So that was interesting, and I guess if they really wanted to, they could go that far. But I'm glad they kind of didn't. But it just was a little. That was a little weird, but it was still cool at the same time. So I don't mind it.
Yeah, I really wish you could revisit that. What's the place that you can't travel to after a certain point in the story?
Oh shoot! I know what you're talking about. Where the Pretoria?
Yeah, Pretoria is from.
Pretoria or something. Yeah.
Yeah, but you can't visit it, and it's one of my favorite locations in the game. The music's phenomenal. It's and it just gets shut off because it's a warring nation now. It's crap.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. I really liked. I can't remember his name. What's his name actually? But I thought he was pretty cool too. His
that
story.
Character. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you remember his name? Because it's escaping me right now.
I'm gonna look it up right now here.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's see. Nations. Indolene, Pretoria.
Maybe he was in the
I'm not
Praetorium
sure.
or something. The Praetor.
The Praetor. Yeah.
The Praetor. It came through. Praetor. Yeah, yeah.
There's a lot of characters in this game.
There's a lot of characters. But he was really interesting too. And the way, the final battle with him went down too. You actually cared about him too. I mean, the story of him and his mother, that can
I want
relate
him
to
dead by the
anyone.
end, though. I didn't shed a tear. I want him dead. It's like, you've gone over the edge. This is a madman now.
Absolutely. But again, usually what drove him to madness was something that we all can relate to. You know what I mean? Like I said, the loss of his mother and how that went down and seeing all this war. So it can happen to anybody. So that's why I related. No, I didn't shed a tear for any of them, but but yeah, I did like his character.
Did you play with English or Japanese audio?
English.
Okay.
I just can't. I just really want to.
You can't because you're an anime. You watch anime, so you don't watch with the original audio.
I don't.
Or do you?
I don't. I watch English anime. Probably going to get English dubbed. I know so many people are probably going to hate me for that. Because
I know there's something about the emotion in the original audio track that just like resonates with me.
Yeah.
Especially the screams are just so powerful.
I think maybe if I did do a replay through, that would be the perfect time for me to actually, because I know the story by then and everything, jump into it with the Japanese audio. I think that would be pretty cool. Because it's not that I have a thing against it, but I really like to immerse myself completely, So I don't want to have anything kind of being a hindrance. I want to be able to just dive in full force. And I'm glad
I find it forces me to read, which makes me make sure I have the dialogue down.
Okay.
Yeah.
But then you missed your tutorial. Remember that?
That's true. Tutorial's all brushed through. No big deal. So something that we didn't know going up into this game is, the Final Fantasy series, they're all unrelated games.
Mm-hmm.
This is a number 2. Is it related to the original? And This is a minor spoiler for the original game.
Okay.
But I don't think it's a spoiler that made me want to play the original game. So I think it's actually a good spoiler to know that 2 runs. It's 2, but it's not sequentially after. It's actually simultaneous to the original game. So this story is happening simultaneously, and events in the original game come into 2 and react in a big way where the architect of this universe dies as a result of what happens in the original in the game. It's kind of mind blowing to think that like oh my gosh, this is like all connected. And yeah.
I didn't, since I've never finished the first one, I was a little unaware, but when they were talking about that towards the end, I was so intrigued that I had to research it. So I saw some other YouTube videos of people basically explaining the difference between the end of this one and the end of that one and how it makes sense. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's why I can't wait for an HD remaster.
Right. Yeah. I've heard the Game Explained discussions on it, and I don't know the full. I know mostly what happens at the end of one, mostly, but I know just enough to know that architect, he's in both worlds, both dimensions.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to get to the end of Xenoblade 1 because it's gonna. The people that played 1 originally that then played 2 have their mind blown in that way. The effect is going to be just as powerful when I get to the end of 1. It's like, oh my god, that thing in 2. It's
Absolutely. And
so I think either way of playing them would have the same powerful effect, and I don't think there is a right order. You could play 2 first, then 1. I don't think that matters at all.
I don't think so either. But do you think that leaves further credence that they will make an HD remaster of the first one?
They should. They really need to. Because
I think so.
I think X will come first, though. I
think
that'll be easier to port, and I think the next game will be X2, and you need to play X because I hear that ends in a cliffhanger, so I think they'll want to make sure everyone's that's available, and the Wii U didn't sell that well, so.
Yeah, but that the only thing there, I want X because I want to finish it anyway. But I really think that they'll start with an X2 before they come out with X remaster. Could that?
No. I think they'll come in with X remaster and then X2. The next new game I think will be X2. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah,
I'm excited for that too. I'm excited for both of them. I mean, the Switch is doing so well. I love my Switch so much. I'm on it all the time, and it does really good for these type of games because to be able to pick it up and not have to be stuck to a TV gives you more opportunity to finish them because they're so lengthy. You know, that's one of the issues that I had with X is because I had to take up that TV. You know, that things change in our lives. You might not always be able to claim the TV all the time. You know. So I think this makes it a lot easier because even if you're on the couch, put on your headphones, do your thing, you know, at least you're not hogging a TV.
Yeah. I'm dying to have Xenoblade Chronicles 1 as an HD remaster. That game deserves it. The Wii version looks okay, but I'd love it if they found some way to make that look as good as 2. I don't know how much work that would take to do that, but man, would that be good.
I think so. I think they could make their money back really easily. I think the fans would want that anyway. You know, this is bringing in more fans toward the series. I think it's from what I understand, the highest selling version, you know, Xenoblade Chronicles.
Yeah, it was over 1 million seller within the first month, which is great for this kind of game.
Yeah, so I mean, it's warranted. I mean, I'm sure it's just going to give it more legs, this whole franchise. So I think it's worth it.
Now, Poppy. Once again, it's something I didn't realize. I didn't realize there was a third form of Poppy until after I was listening to some podcasts after I finished the game. It's like, oh, totally didn't do that quest. So there's 3 forms of Poppy. There's Cutie Pie as little Poppy Cutie Pie.
Yeah,
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was such a cute thing, for, like how I just love the fact that, and I'm surprised you didn't realize this, how she went from like a little girl to like a teenager, a typical Japanese teenager, and then to be an adult, and of course, the trope of being a little bit more, you know, revealing and stuff like that. But,
I'm finding stuff for clothes right now in that quest. I'm pretty close.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, but that's an amazing character, by the way. Once I had Poppy Cutie Pie in my team, Tora definitely stood in my team at all times. Just to say that, because very, very strong, and I just love. It's like this gun, almost like reminds me of Final Fantasy 13 with lightning, the gunblade kind of thing. It kind of resembles that hit the weapon.
Yeah.
And it can do those things. It's just an amazing character. You're gonna like her.
Did you? What was I gonna say? Oh, Tiger. Did you do much of that?
I did once we had the update that gave it an easy mode.
Okay.
So, because without the easy mode, I found it extremely frustrating. Because if you didn't have the easy mode, any object within the drop that you banged onto would also make you lose your, your air or your gold or whatever the heck. And that it just was too frustrating. So the easy mode at least makes that a non-issue. You can bump into whatever you want to, except for spikes and things, and you're not going to take damage. So that makes it better. But I didn't invest as much time as I wanted to because I really wanted to upgrade Poppy Cutie Pie to the max and get her the other elements, because you can actually make her a light type. And as you know, right now for your game, you only have one light type, which is Mithra. And there's actually two more light types that you can get in the game. And one of them is, of course, Cosmos, that people scream for, and I have no connection to myself, but I want to get that. It's one of the ones I'm missing. And then Poppy Cutie Pie can also be light.
Have you purchased the $500,000 blade?
Yes, I have.
I was glad to discover that after I beat the game that I've got endless money pretty much. Let me buy that, and you get some money back when you say hello again. So.
Yeah, I like that blade. A little interesting, the design though. Like, I like the blade more from the front, but from the back, it just has a weird placed mermaid tail, like on her butt.
Mm-hmm.
It's just very weird. But I like her because she's very sassy, and it was pretty interesting how everything she does and her whole affinity chart is based off of money. So how much you sell, how much you buy, everything is money based, which I thought was pretty cool. Because the salvaging, which we haven't even touched on at all yet in this game, which is another way. Actually, I found that really early in the game, again in Gormat, you could salvage from one of those points, and you can really rake up the money. That's how I got her so early, is that right in the port that's right next to where you can buy her, you can just keep on spamming that with like silver, eventually gold cylinders, and just like really get that money from selling them.
Interesting. Okay. Mm-hmm. Now, the salvaging I had mixed results with. I mean, it's a cool mechanic, and I'm glad there. And it's interesting backstory for Rex, is like that's what he does. And so he's going beneath the clouds.
Yeah.
He never, I would imagine, ever sees any cities down there. Like, what's he see down there at the other times? Like,
that's one thing I thought it was a little funny, because when you get to that point in the game that you go all the way beneath the clouds and you're in this Morintha or whatever.
Yeah.
So, and he's never been down there, though he's been diving on the clouds, like, so that it was a little interesting,
because the world is like, below the world is Earth, right? That's been destroyed. Is that
that's what they basically claimed, is that it's the previous land that was destroyed when that whole side by side was happening with the other game. You know what I mean? With original Chronicles.
Yeah. So it's curious that, but anyways, favorite. Do you have any favorite blades? Any rare blades? What are your favorites?
I'm trying to think which one's my favorite. I really do like the one that you were saying, the rock blade. He was really cool. I liked his story. Trying to think offhand now.
Or designs. Like, I like the book person, the healer.
Yeah.
Drene or something.
Yeah, Adeline, I think it is.
Adeline, yeah.
And I think the design is really cool. I really like the ability that she has to increase your drop. She can increase your drop by 100%. I got her up to. So I really like that with her. I really have to look up which ones are my favorite, because I have so many. It's really hard for me to say. Oh, actually, Dagas or whatever.
Okay.
I just finished his affinity chart before we started this, by the way. But spoiler alert for him, you have to finish his affinity chart twice. So
oh wow.
It's the biggest moment in the game.
Yeah.
When you get past his story and you're like, oh, cool, I finally finished it. And then you go back to his affinity chart and it's over at 0. You're like, what happened here? But I think his is really cool because he is like royalty. He believes that he was a king of a nation and he's trying to find this nation that he was a king of course, because they all lost their memories. And that's a really cool mechanic. I really love that.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought he was really, really interesting.
Yeah. Now, Wolfric, have you figured out how to get past? I think I can't get to level 4 or 5. It just won't unlock. There's some place I need to go, and I think it's in Tantal, but
Yes, it is in Tansel, and I believe it's in the lower level
mm-hmm.
because you have to start his quest, I believe, in order to get that to unlock. And his quest, I did find a little challenging because the monsters eventually were a little over leveled. There's a big crack in the floor. It's ice, basically. You have to find these people that are being attacked by these monkey things.
Okay.
And you basically have to save them. And it's a really cool scene with him like saving and stopping this rock. It's amazing. So I think it's all has to do with that. Once you finish that, it'll unlock that 5th one, I believe, from what I recall.
Okay. And this is a quest I need to find and then start that, or I need to wander somewhere.
Yes, you would be. I would go into like the main gates of Tantal, like towards one of the exits.
Mm-hmm.
And also another really quick spoiler: if you're around the area that his quest starts, you're very, very, very close to where you can get one of the best blades ever, called Herald, which is like a dragon woman.
Okay.
Amazing. There's basically an area that you have to just blow open. If you just explore the area, you'll see, oh, there's a place that you can use, your field skills and blow up. And once you get in there, you're going to see like a shrine,
mm-hmm.
and you just have to use your field skill again. And then you easily get this wonderful lightning ether cannon blade called
cool.
Herald. So cool. So cool.
What did you have any frustrations during your playthrough?
The same one that you had.
Of the combat system?
No. When you were coming to me about how I defeated Morag?
Yeah.
Is it Morag? That, oh man.
Oh yeah, so at the end of the game when you go through the Darklands.
Yeah. That was so frustrating to me, I gotta say.
Yeah, I thought that part was a bit unnecessary. I like the one with Nia, but I wasn't sure it needed that. I guess I appreciated it afterwards, but it seemed a bit over the top.
Yeah, it was just, I don't know. I was doing so well in the game, and yes, there was challenging moments and really long battles. And when I made a mistake, I knew it was my fault. But when I got to her, I was like, I really don't know what I'm doing wrong here. And I think that's what got me more frustrating than anything, because you don't have access to all your blades anyway, too. So you have to work with what you have. And she's very strong, and she's a tank. And when she hits really fast and really hard. I think I gave you the suggestion about getting a blade that can heal you when you walk. And I had, I have a rare blade, a lightning rare blade that can do that. And that's the only way I survived, because she was very fast at attacking. And when I needed to, I can run away really quickly and heal while I'm running away. That's the only way I did it. And that took, I think, like 10 tries. So I was very frustrated.
Yeah, they give you a lot of area in that space, so that running healing mechanic, it worked really well there, I must say.
Yeah. Thank goodness. I mean, I was trying to research online after about my 5th time how other people did it, and a lot of people just used basically like a tank, like a shield blade, a shield axe, or whatever they're called. That type of weapon. The ones that can take the hit, like there's an ice guy, and I can't remember what his name is. He's a rare blade, but I was like, that just didn't work for me, and he was almost maxed out in his affinity chart, and it still didn't work for me. So again, that's probably one of the only frustrating parts I had of the game. I think the last boss, I think you said you died many times. I died, I think, once for the last boss. And I didn't even do that big combo attack thing. And
Yeah,
I was able to.
I managed to kill him. He had 50% health left, or like 54% health left, and I just, it's time. You're going down, and
Yeah.
I'm glad I did it. What I did, because there's a certain point where he has like a kill shot that just nukes your whole party, and I was just every time when I was getting far enough along his health, he would just annihilate my whole party, and there's nothing you could do. So it's like, okay, I'm gonna stack these orbs and just decimate you, and that did it.
I think what helped me there is because I made sure most of my characters had a lot of HP, and Tora actually had the maximum 9999 HP.
What
So he
level
was
is he?
like 70. Like I said, he was like about 70 about that time, and I'm like, 'cause I must have been the chipset that I got from the mini game.
Yeah, because my HP is 7105 with turrets at level 71.
Yeah, I think that's what really saved me because with that, I tried to keep him up to full health as much as possible and everyone if I could because I had Nia with me and she had a really good healing ability there that healed everybody. So with that, and I gave Poppy Cutie Pie something that anytime she hit the enemy, she was gaining back health too. So my tour was really being able to stay at pretty much full health, and that's really what helped me.
Yeah, I really wish this game supported that video capture feature because I really wanted to capture that end boss where I was just nailing it. It's like, why does this not support this feature? I was doing a bunch of screen captures because like this is great.
Oh yeah, I wish they would do that, but I don't know. I'm not sure what it is. Maybe it's putting too much strain on it.
Are worried about spoilers at all? I don't know. That seems
well,
weird.
I mean, people can spoil in so many ways. So that
Oh, I know. Yeah. The points in the game where they didn't give you Mithra or Pyra were they're frustrated. It's like I want my blade back because I'm really good with that blade. I'm not good with the other blades. I haven't really done that.
I think that was a good idea though because it kind of forced you to not just rely so much.
It does.
Pyra and Mithra are so good. They have that topple ability that comes in handy so quick in the game.
Yep, they can heal.
Yes, it's so good.
So something I was doing before I figured out the elemental mechanic is I would just use my elemental attack to enable me to run, to pick up potions. That's what I would do. And not good strategy when you know the elemental thing. But it's like, okay, I want to run and get all the potions because otherwise you're walking slower to get to them.
Yeah, that's true. I don't think I had. I'm trying to think the strategies that I had. Nia definitely was focused more on healing for me and my party when I had her in it. But I did kind of like to have Rex as an all-around person. So I like to give him a tank, give him a healer, give him a fighter, So I really did like that because I thought he was good. And then his ability at the end was fantastic, by the way, to be able to use all the blades. For me,
oh yeah, that's great. Has that changed
wonderful.
how you pair blades? Like, how do you pick which when you're opening up a blade, who to put it with?
Because it's random, it's really hard. But I did get some of those items that help you move the blades over with the DLC that I got. So that also helped me too. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, okay, I'm not as concerned because if I really want somebody opposed, like for example, I got this ice bear. Well, this little girl, she's ice element and she has this bear with her. And I got her later on and Zeke got her. And I was like, it just doesn't fit with Zeke for me.
Yeah.
So I moved that one over to Nia because it just was a better fit for me. And it was a healer anyway. Mm-hmm. And it just really worked. So only certain ones I wanted with certain. And that one that I was telling you about in I'm pretty sure it's Tantal, that Herald blade, that one is a must for Zeke. And I recommend this for anyone going forward. It has a story attachment to that land. And obviously Zeke is the prince of that land. So to me, there's no better fit than Herald with Zeke.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So.
The music, You played with audio up so you could hear it, and
Yes,
would,
yes, I love the music.
any favorite areas?
You know what? I really like the unique boss theme. I thought that's really fun. It got me right into it. I knew that it was something to be more alert of because they can really hit hard, and their levels are not their levels. I think it said it somewhere, or maybe I read it somewhere that their level, even though they could say level 20, but you're really fighting like 25 or 30 because that thing is that powerful. It's not just a typical level 20 enemy that you're fighting against. But I really like that. I think it's set home. But all the themes in the different locations were really good. Like you said, the theme in at the Praetorium was
Yeah,
really
the
good.
use of vocals in this game, phenomenal. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. They captured it very well. The in Gormont, the being out in the field, it felt really good. Like when you were running,
There's like
it just felt
royalty
right.
music for other parts. It's like a nice
Yeah.
march, uh,
Yes.
and the just ethereal stuff down in Mortha. I don't know. There's throughout just phenomenal tracks.
Oh yeah, and the visuals of this game are so wonderful. I mean, I can't imagine this game looking any prettier, except for if it could go to 4K. This game would look so fantastic.
Yeah. So when I bought this game, I wasn't sure what to think. The trailers weren't selling me, and it's like, okay, I trust you guys. You made two good games already. And then I started playing. It's like, okay, I like this art style. The story
Yeah,
is great. You know, it's yeah. They nailed it with this one.
yeah. I like that
Um,
one Titan that you're inside its belly. I'm having a hard time remembering, but there's like
Uriah.
Uriah. Uriah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I
Uriah.
really, really liked that land because of it just looked so good. The winding roads, the way that the trees were like a I don't know, magenta, I guess, or
Hmm.
like that contrast with the blue. Oh man, that place was stunning. Loved it.
Were there any points in the game where I don't know how emotional you get? Did you ever have a sense of a tear forming?
Well, definitely towards the end of the game. I mean, that moment where Mithra. I called her Mithra, by the way. I think we talked about that in Twitter a
Yeah,
little
you're one of the two. Yeah.
bit. Yeah, most people. I knew most people would call her Pyra because I knew that because your attachment was with Pyra. I'm
Yeah,
like, I have to call
absolutely.
her Mithra. But that moment with Mithra and the green Mithra, we're gonna say, and Poppy's like, I won't go. I can't. I promised. Oh my God, that like. She's like, she's
Yeah,
right
this.
there. She's right
Yeah.
there. Oh my God, that tore me right there.
Right.
So good.
And
Yeah.
like Poppy, it's like, who would have thought this robot would be such an could be so
Oh
emotional
yeah.
with that.
And I'm so glad that they played to Poppy's strength because when Poppy is the original Poppy, she is a little girl. You know what I mean? So they gave her the best lines and it worked really well because if they would have did the same thing with like teenager Poppy or Poppy Cutie or Cutie
Yeah. So
Pie,
even though you had Cutie Pie, it did the original Poppy, right?
yes, yes, that
Okay.
is all done with the original Poppy. So
Yeah.
it
Okay.
yeah, no matter what, it's awesome. That scene right there was so good, and of course
And
the
then when
end scene.
crystal falls out, it's like, oh,
Mhm.
it's like,
Yeah,
yeah, because it's like, oh my gosh, he's no longer connected, and like
yeah.
that. Yeah. Wow.
It was such a good moment.
And what's it
And
mean at the end when they show up as like separate characters now? They're like unique entities now.
that I thought was cool, but I really didn't understand it, but I guess they were always kind of two souls just kind of combined to one for some reason.
Yeah, I thought they were
And I don't,
like different personalities of the same. I don't know.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it didn't make much sense, but I guess they really wanted to give everybody a happy ending, and that's a happy ending.
That is, yeah, because none of the other, what do they call the main blades, the three?
Oh, you're talking about like the one with the glasses that's Zeke's partner and stuff like that?
No, no. So there's Mithra. There's
Oh,
who
oh.
wanted the end of the world? I can't
Oh,
believe
I
I
know.
forget the name of this character.
I know. He was using a Monado at the one
Jen,
part, which Uh,
Yeah.
I know who you're talking about, but my goodness, I can't
But
think
none
of
of
his
the
name.
other three blades have alternate forms that we know of, I don't believe.
Right, I don't think they did.
Yeah, so it's interesting that she does.
Right, she was like a world destroyer. What was she called? What were
I
they
can't
called?
believe this is a huge plot point that I can't believe I
I
now remember. This is ridiculous.
Well, I think it's
Oh
because we already
gosh.
finished the story. You know what I mean? And when you're in the thick of the story, you're thinking about all of that, and then
Yeah.
afterwards, you're just doing little stuff here and there. You're not thinking about that.
Yeah.
I
Have you
can't think
gone
of
back
it.
and played the final boss again just for fun?
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet. I do plan on doing that, but I kind of want to do that with like a whole different party,
Mm-hmm.
and I want to. I'm really focusing right now, personally, on getting the affinity charts um, completed.
Yeah.
Like I said, I just did two before I got on this podcast, and that's my goal. So some of them are really complex. So I
Because
just
those
want to
carry
get
through to New Game Plus.
yes, yes, they do. So that's one of the things I wanted
So
to
New
do as
Game
well.
Plus seems like it'll be a piece of cake because I'll be leveled at level like 70 from the start. Is that accurate? Like I'll just be able to like breeze through it. My
I does your level carry over? I thought maybe
I
your blade's affinity chart or level does. I'm not sure if your personal level does.
I
But
could
even
have
so,
sworn it did.
but even if it didn't, with all that extra with your blades, like I don't know if you've heard of Zenobia as one of the rare blades, but she has a crazy affinity chart, and if you get that maxed out, even early in the game, you're gonna fly through it.
Yeah. Um. Okay. Let's see.
I'm not
New
sure
Game
here.
Plus. What carries over? Certain will be carried over. Driver levels. That's like. Am I reading that right? Where
Driver levels. That's what I'm saying. I think that means their the level of their affinity chart because you can go from like
oh,
one to five.
not HP level and
Yeah.
okay, but still, Merc group levels and development level of each city. That's huge to have that stuff
Mm-hmm.
carry over.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. So it'll still be.
Mm-hmm.
It won't be as frustrating the second time through because you'll have
No,
some advantages there. Um,
absolutely.
and you
And
can
did
send
you
Pyra and Mithra on the Merc missions. Yeah.
that really needs to happen? I haven't still fully completed Mithra's affinity chart. I think I did Pyra's. So I mean,
Oh,
they're hard to
they are
do.
different.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're
yeah,
unique.
yeah. They're very interesting to do because you can't send them off and get that, or you couldn't at the time, and get those easy level ups to send them on like an hour mission and know they're going to come back with one of their affinity things done. So that made it hard.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm at 31 of 44 on Mithra, and on Pyra, I'm at 27 of 44. Somehow less with her. Interesting.
Oh wow.
Uh, what do you want to see next with Xenoblade Chronicles 3? Do you want us to go to the massive landform that was made at the end? Where does this go from here? We've had the two stories that were parallel. Do they go onward from here with Rex in the next one, or
I did like him as a character, so I wouldn't be mad if they brought him back. But I think maybe for story purposes, maybe it would be better to be like sometime in the future with somebody else. And what has happened now after all this time when he's passed and everything else is
yeah?
done, and with the core crystals, like you know what I mean? Like I love that
Because we already
whole
had
thing with
Rex's
the core
story and
crystals.
his connection with Pyra.
Yeah,
That story's done.
exactly. So I would like to see, in that case, I would like to see another character. Maybe they could have some events that tie back into the end of his life. Maybe if it really impacted the land that much, even more. You know, I know they connected the continents and stuff, but you know, if there was anything else that happened because of the split of Mithra and Pyra, you know, I would like to kind of see that. But I would also like it to be a brand new story.
Yeah.
So other than that,
The
I'm
whole
not sure what else.
concept the whole concept of blades turning into titans and this whole circle of life thing is really interesting the way they set that up.
Yeah, and how he said it was really just to kind of chronicle the life, right? To
Yeah.
chronicle everything. And I thought that was really, really fascinating.
And the whole concept of blades wishing they're human to have a set time. Like you're alive for that number of years, and you can have more purpose that way.
Oh yeah.
And the whole forgetting of memories, and
Oh
when you
yeah.
die as a blade, it's like there's a lot of just interesting just things to think about as they bring them up in this game.
Yeah, I really liked one of them that brings it home a little bit is Bridget. I think her story
Yeah,
with her chronicling with with a diary, but
yeah,
the only way that that worked is because her core crystal always was handed down to whoever was in this royalty or whatever.
royalty.
Yeah, royalty. So she knew, well, or hoped that she would have some way to know what happened in the past. That's how she knew that her and Mithra would battle it out most of the time, and she never won against her. And I thought that was great because that was one thing that set her apart because she was able to, even though not remember it personally, be able to have that chronicle. And I know you never experienced, well, actually you got praxis or something, right, in your game. One of the two water there's she was a water blade and she had like a twin that was an ice blade. I
I'm
think it
not
was
sure if I
part of the
did.
main story.
Okay,
I
I
thought it
might
was
have.
part of the
Yeah.
main story. But her story was so fantastic, and it really, that part I think was one of them that made me really tear up because
Hmm.
she was working for bad guys, her and her other blade friend at the time, and then you killed one of the bad guys, so you got I think it's Praxis, and Theory is the other, Praxis and Theory. And when I finally ended up getting Theory or doing that, before that happened, you had to fight the other bad guy, and Theory wanted to wanted to kill you as Rex and everybody because she wanted her best friend to come back to her team, even though she forgot about her. It was fantastic. It was fantastic. So
Yeah.
you really need to try to get these other blades and do
Well
those stories.
aware. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
What'd you think about the Nopon boss, the evil dude, who made
Oh,
Giga Rosa, and that
I
was
thought he
quite the
was fun.
storyline. I thought it was
Yeah,
fun. Yeah.
yeah. I thought that was actually really cool though because it made Poppy seem more important. Not just that Poppy's not as an artificial
And
blade and
Poppy's
stuff like
dad,
that.
and Tora's dad and stuff. Like
Yeah.
Tora had a lot of awesome character development. This is the best Nopon we've ever had.
Absolutely, absolutely. Because I really didn't care about no puns so much. First of all, in the first one, I haven't played enough to really care too much. And even in Xenoblade Chronicles X, the no pun there was just a little annoying, to be
Mm-hmm.
quite honest.
Yeah,
Whereas
let's cook
this
them. It's
one,
like, yeah, let's cook you for
yeah,
real.
yeah, yeah, exactly. But this one just had it. I loved his character development, like you said. I love his backstory, the way that he put all this energy into Poppy, and then his dad had this much passion. And even though he's a little bit of a perv himself too, which I thought was kind of funny because it's
Yeah.
he's a younger character. He's just a young kid, a pervy young kid. You know what I mean? What are you gonna do?
Right.
So I just thought his character was really well done, and the fact with the artificial blades and that factory and stuff, and how that became a big part in the end. You got to see them in the big battle at the end with all these
Mm-hmm.
artificial. I thought it was done so well.
Yeah. One of the fights I really enjoyed was we had the attack like a power generator while also fending off the main attacking
Yes,
machine. I think it was in
yes,
the war field area,
yes.
Tempura. That was just a cool, different kind of boss fight that they had in there.
I'm glad I
Yeah.
kind of picked it up like halfway through the battle because at one point I was like, "What? Nothing's happening here," because you had to switch your focus, and I believe it's Temperantia, and it was a really good one too. They have a lot of really good battles in this game. I gotta say, they're very memorable. And nothing that seemed too unfair, maybe besides the last fight with the instant kill thing, for the most part. But most of them didn't seem unfair. They seemed, if you were prepared as your party or leveled enough, then you could definitely get through it. It might have taken a little bit longer if you didn't pick the right elements, but you could do it.
Yeah. Uh, the most annoying blade to have as number one in your party is this big fat. Do you have this big fat globe? This purple
Yeah. Well,
globe.
is it Boreas?
Yeah.
Right?
You can't see anything. It's like this huge globe. It's like, what the? It's
Yeah.
bizarre. I don't know.
Did you change your camera angle though? Like make yourself a little bit further back?
How do you do that?
You don't know? Again, something you missed? What's going on? I
Yeah.
believe you have to press and hold L, and then you use the right analog stick up or down.
Oh, I
And if
think I
you,
did discover that, and yeah, I just got
yeah,
frustrated, so I put back to what it was supposed to be.
uh,
But that would fix that problem, probably. Yeah.
yes, it does. Though I gotta say, I think you see a little bit of the game like not loading, but the textures
Hmm.
more because there's I guess the way that the game works is that when you're running, there's just a certain amount of space between you and what you can see that's
Yeah.
being textured well, right?
Hmm.
And then and then everything around is kind of blurrier that you can't really notice when you're in the default camera angle. But when you go back and make your character smaller, you can actually see the difference a little bit. So that's one thing I would warn you with if you're going to be doing that to the camera that might be a little off-putting.
Okay. Uh, as far as the star rating for each of the Titans, you have fives on most of them or some of them?
Fives on
What's your
all of them. Yeah,
all of them? Nice
on
work.
all of them.
The best way to do that, you're doing the merc missions, you're buying stuff from the stores. What's your strategy for doing that?
First, I would definitely say salvaging is one of the best ways because while you're salvaging, if you find a really good area, you can get a lot of money because you're selling the materials you're gathering from salvaging, and then you're using that money to buy more of the stuff you need to salvage. I can't even think of the cylinders. Buy
Yeah.
more of the cylinders. So that just cycle helped really, first of all, get you a whole bunch of money and helped me really level up my the star ratings.
So the star ratings, it's based not on buying stuff from every store, but just overall putting money into their economy. So it doesn't
Yes,
matter that you're just buying cylinders. That helps with that.
correct,
Okay,
correct.
that's good to know. Yeah.
Yeah, and one thing I will say, in my experience, I don't know, are you playing with a pro controller when you play on your TV
Yes,
and stuff?
predominantly pro controller. Yep.
Okay. I found that the salvaging is not as spot on while playing with a pro controller. That I did find a little frustrating. I found it in many occasions. I tried it all over the place in the game, and I don't know if it's just my pro controller, but I feel that the button prompts were not as timely in
Huh.
that moment only. So what I had to do when I wanted to salvage is I put it in portable mode, and with it, hooked onto the Switch, I had no lag whatsoever, and I was able to hit the button prompts perfectly every single time. So if that was
Okay.
one of the reasons you were having an issue and you weren't doing the salvaging, I would try focusing that on undocked mode.
Yeah. Okay. Do you have any favorite quests that stand out that were like special to you?
Um, they're all going to be in relationship to the rare blades
Yeah.
for sure. Um, for example, I can't say favorite because I really like so many of the rare blades. It's hard for me to say which one I like the most, but I really did like this one with I can't remember what her name is, but she's a dark type. She is a tank, and she is basically like a girl with like a white body, and she has a kitsune on her back. She has a mask on the back of her head. Okay,
Yeah.
so she's called the it's called like Lucky Girl thing. That she thought this mask was so lucky, but it's actually the opposite of that. It's actually extremely unlucky. So she thinks that all this bad stuff that happens to her, she was like, she thinks she's doing so much good. And everybody's like, you can't see that you're causing all this horrible stuff to happen. So
Hmm.
it was just adorable because she was so innocent and she was so happy and lively, and all this doom and gloom just happens around her. I just thought it was adorable.
Yeah. Story wise, what were the bigger surprises for you? What were the like most mind blowing moments that you
It probably was
experienced?
it probably was Nia, really. That
Hmm.
to me was like when she healed what the prince or whatever, and I'm like, what the heck is going on? I think something's funky about her. I don't know why I didn't think that she was a blade at that time. I should have put two
Yeah.
and two together. But when that happened, I was like, oh my god, I just love her. And then when you got her backstory, and that's why she was with that crew. That's why they kept her around because of her ability too. At the end, when you fought the bad guy who was using the Monado, and that too blew my mind. He was literally using the Monado at that one point. And
Yeah.
then after that scene, when you saw what her ability is really to heal, like you got it firsthand, like she kind of showed you that. I'm like, yes, yes, yes. I love her. I love this whole part. So that part of the story, I think, was one of the best parts for me. That Nier was a blade. She was using this amazing ability. That's why they kept her around for this long. And that he was using a freaking Monado. And I thought that was so cool.
Yeah. No, definitely. Rock and his previous owner. What a moment that was when he died.
Yes. The only reason I kind of thought something was funky about him is because I was like, oh yay, we got a new character. I just want to like have use some more
But he's such a local character.
Yeah. So I just was kind of funny because he was like, oh, you can't use any other blades on him. You can't awaken any other blades with him. So I'm like, something's weird here. I'm like, what's going on? So that should have been my first clue. But I did like him. It would have been cool to have him as a character too. Would have been cool to have him for longer. But I liked his story.
And I love Gramps as the small little dude.
Oh yes, yes, yes. But I wanted to see him more. I mean, we got it at the end with him turning back to the other form. But
yeah, at the end, that was such a great moment when, because of what Mithra did, I believe that's why it happened. Mithra did something to him.
Yeah, she
accelerated his growth, and
yeah.
It's like, oh my god, that's such a good moment of him turning back to the big form at the end. It's like, oh, this is great.
Yeah, he was a good character too. I did like that. That part in the beginning was really set the tone for the game. You know, when he fell off of him, he saved you, and then all of a sudden it seemed like he died already. You're like, what the heck is happening?
Yeah, and I love that the salvager hat has like, oh, the helmet has a place for him to stay. It's like, yeah, that's great.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It was really good. And he definitely was like the father in that situation, how he was, talking about the relationship between Rex and Pyra all the time, like always calling it out and stuff. I thought that was really really well done.
And Rex's parents died. Like that's a sad kind of.
Yeah, the
introducing Pyra to them was like, oh, it's like kind of sad. I don't know.
But I think that's what makes it work so much, that this game has so much. Yes, it has those kind of, I guess, cringe moments, that you have the anime tropes, and then you have them talking about something, certain things. You're like, what the heck is going on? But they have a little bit of everything. They have these really touching moments, like, I can see somebody having a similar experience, their parents dying, and being so respectful and loving of their parents that they take their significant other to the tomb site of their parents to introduce them. Like that part to me did kind of choke me up a little bit too, because it was very well done, and just done so well. Like I loved it.
Yeah, this game, it's got a nice balance of comedy, of also just the philosophy and serious stuff about what what is life and what's our purpose here, and like it's I don't know, it's like a deep game, and the story just it goes places, like it moves. But so each chapter was about 10 hours, and then at the end I was flying through it. It's probably still 10 hours, but I felt like I was just flying through them. In there.
Because by the end, you're kind of ready for the climactic part. You're like, I'm ready to get there. So
yeah, what'd you think of Elysium when you got there and it wasn't green?
You know what? Because they built it up so much when I was climbing up the World Tree, which the World Tree being mechanical was actually pretty cool. I really did like that, But as soon as I saw the World Tree being mechanical, I kind of thought that it wasn't going to be what you expected, So
did you expect there would be a land up there at all?
I did. I did still expect there would be a land. I didn't know. I thought it was going to be more mechanical, and then that was going to be the mind-blowing thing, that, we thought this land was all lush and it was greenery, but the World Tree is this way and the land is really just this way, and that's what's going to be the bummer. But to know that it was just like a wasteland, I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, and then it was probably once green, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well,
like,
because I think they said
that was a part of the old Earth, maybe.
I think so. I think that's really what boiled down to, that the people from Earth used to live there before like the war happened and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, and the it's interesting the church goes underground like it does.
Yeah.
And what the architect, that curse that he has, like he's just stuck there for like like imagine just being you're just stuck there for eternity, just sitting watching over. Like he's not able to control much. He's able to put this vision on Rex to see this stuff, but otherwise he's mostly just observing.
Yeah.
Right?
And how he said something about what being able to see a whole bunch of different realities that could have take place or something like that.
Yeah.
So that was really interesting. But yeah, what a way to go from what happened before to being stuck seeing everything take place.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of sucky.
Yeah. And wow, is this such a I was surprised just at how long it felt like we had a good 10-hour anime movie in here. Like
yes,
I would love to know how long those scenes were. There were a lot of them and some lengthy ones.
And if you, in my situation of counting in all of the voice acting for the Rare Blade quest that they do, there is so much voice acting in this game.
Mm-hmm.
And I was surprised that they chose the dialect or the area, that it was like
Nintendo of Europe did the English localization.
And I actually like that because I don't get to hear, for me mostly, I don't get to hear that type of dialect, that those areas be featured too much in big games like that. So to me, it was very welcomed. I really, really enjoyed it.
Yeah, and the Japanese was top notch. I was so glad I was in there because X did not have it. The original game did. The 3DS version did not.
Okay.
So, I was glad I was in there because I think it's Xenoblade will always be a game meant to be played in Japanese audio.
I can't.
It is such a different experience. Like you have a whole different emotional experience of how these actors are sounding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess, like I said, that tells me when I play the New Game Plus, I just have to play it that way to get that experience too, and it'll make it feel more fresh to me anyway. So
yeah, it'll feel like a whole new experience, and it's it's interesting. Like even the battle scenes, the shouting and stuff will be in that. Like, it's a different experience, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm
sure.
Anything else you want to mention about Xenoblade Chronicles 2?
Basically that if you have a Nintendo Switch and you don't have this game, you, in the words of Reggie Fils-Aimé, what's wrong with you?
Right?
Because it's so good. Really, it's so good. It works so well for the console, like I was saying before, that you don't have to feel stuck if you're really intimidated. And I think they lay out the battle mechanics in a smart way. They do give it to you piecemeal. You get a mechanic, they tell you how to use it, they force you to use it, and then they keep on doing that throughout the first portion of the game so that you never feel too overwhelmed.
Yeah, there are new mechanics being added in like 7/10 of the way through the game.
Mm-hmm. It's true.
It was amazing. It's like, I'm getting a tutorial. I'm like 70 hours, 90 hours through the game. There's a new mechanic. This is amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. But then you're like, oh, wow, this really does change how all this other stuff works. Like I said, the mechanic with Nia.
And also powering up Pyra into the third form. How is that even done? Yeah. How does the powering up work for that? Do you know?
Oh, all you have to do is get your trust with Pyra and Mithra up to its maximum. And then you can call on the green Mithra.
It's trust-based.
Yeah, it's trust-based.
And you build trust by doing the elemental attacks?
Yeah, by doing the elemental attacks, right. Basically, just by fighting. You fight, you do your arts, you doing your elemental attacks. It's going to increase your trust faster and faster. If you have items that you can use, that'll help that raise faster. But once you do that, you can call that green Mithra in once per battle, and that's for a limited time. And then I
Yeah.
thought that was really cool too,
If
because
she
that
just goes to town, she can
uh
do some devastation there. It's fun.
I liked her character design too. I thought she was designed very well, like a
She was the
really
best of the
good
three
in.
designs. She was the least. I don't know.
I know what you're saying. I know
Yes,
what you're saying.
yes.
I know
I
what
don't know
you're
how to
saying.
say it, but she was designed the most sensibly. Yeah.
Right. Because and I just loved her look, and I loved the ability that she had, that when you got to the level 3 elemental attack, that she could actually cycle through whatever one. See, since you didn't focus on that too much, I don't know how
Mm-hmm.
much time you had with that
A
part,
little
but
bit, yeah.
if you were needing the level 3 to be a lightning and you didn't have a lightning blade for that combo to work or whatever, you can force her to use it as a lightning blade. Oh my god, it was so
What I
amazing.
love being able to do is instantly do a chain attack, and because you're using the green Mithra, uh, you're able. I was able to get into two chain attacks with one instance of her at some times, and that was just
Yeah.
fun being able to unleash two sets of chain attacks.
Absolutely, because she's obviously, and she's meant to be very overpowered, and that's
Yeah.
awesome. I'm glad that they balance it with her having a timer there, so you're not
Mm-hmm.
just spamming her all the time. And how you have to get to her too, like I said, the trust factor. I thought that was really, really good. Another, you know what? Another part of the battling mechanic we never talked about was canceling an attack.
Yeah. What is? I know it
You
exists. I
get
don't know how to do it.
Okay, so when you are fighting your auto attack, so your auto attack has three stages. It's like, let's say if it's a punch, it's a forward punch, and then it's a forward punch and a punch with your left one, and then it's a three punch hit. Okay,
Okay.
at the end of one of those cycles, you can press one of your arts at the right time, and then you get this flash of a blue circle.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
what that's doing, I think it's not only helping your trust grow faster, but it's helping the energy needed to do your elemental attacks
Hmm.
faster as well, so you get
Okay.
more of that gauge. So that really helped in the game, because I saw videos of people that absolutely mastered that and cycling through the three blades every time, hitting the blue circle, blue circle, blue circle, blue circle, and were able to get to that level 3 in like no time at all. So
Yeah. There was one setup I had where I could break, topple, and do all the things with Rex, and
mhm.
that was fun.
Yes. Being
Yeah.
able to control that, I really did like that, especially smashing. And I love how the game kind of like slows down for these
Yeah.
moments so that you
Mm-hmm.
can really just feel the intensity of it. I loved it. And it was so good.
Yeah.
It's so theatrical, I guess is the best way to say. It's very theatrical. It's very done very well.
Is is this your favorite game from last year, or is Zelda above that, or what? How's this one compare?
That is, they're neck and neck. I love Zelda
Right.
too so much, but this is actually more my cup of tea, I gotta say, probably because I really do like JRPGs.
Yeah.
So I'm huge into Final Fantasy. So Final Fantasy games are usually my core. But
Mm-hmm.
this and games like this can definitely win me over. So I don't want to put it above it. I gotta say they're neck and neck
They're different
because I
genres. Yeah.
they're
Too.
different, and they're Zelda did so much right with this one.
Yeah.
And this game like came out of left field for me, that how good it did and how much it got connected to the characters. So
I guess the final question: story DLC. What do you want to see with that?
I'm I'm really curious about what they're gonna do. I have no idea. I mean, with what
I
they
want to
already
believe them
revealed,
that this will be more story DLC than the Zelda one was, because this game is
yeah,
more story driven.
yes. I mean, I'm not sure. Are they going to put it in before the end boss? Or are they going to put it in after the the final? Like, I'm not sure where they're going to fit this in. I guess if I knew that piece, I could
Yeah.
tell you what maybe I would want from it. But I mean, we're already getting these other characters' blades to use as not even
Mm-hmm.
you saw that too coming in the DLC, and I'm excited for that even though it's not going to make much sense in the game if you're using a character and actually fighting them too. So we'll see how
Right.
that works.
Yeah. Yeah. They'll be fun though. Um,
Yeah, it's gonna be good. I'm still gonna be playing this for at least another 100 hours. I can guarantee you.
yeah. I'm doing the Merc missions and getting as much of those done. Just why not?
Yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah, I'll be doing New Game Plus after I finish the other two Xenoblade games because I do want to do those because I know I want to experience those stories.
I think Xenoblade Chronicles X will be the hardest to jump back into after a game like this because how this game does it so right with the controllers, with the both Joy Cons that you have, and then the buttons and how they the four buttons on each side and whatever, and it's so easy to see. It corresponds with your controller layout so well, so easily. You don't have to toggle through stuff in the middle really like that, like the other games do. So that I thought was wonderful. They did that perfectly for me. So it just made it so much easier to manage all these characters. And I thought that was going to be the overwhelming part of the game, and it wasn't.
Yeah, I at first I didn't like the battle mechanic. It's like, oh, I liked the original Xenoblade Chronicles battle mechanic better, and then I was playing more. It's like, oh, this is actually a lot better, guys. Yeah, sorry.
A lot better.
Yeah, you guys got it better this time.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Benjamin, for your time tonight. This has been great. I love talking about Xenoblade. It's up there at one of my favorite franchises of all time now. Like
That's
this
great.
is a JRPG series that is actually it's got a story that's continuing game to game, and I'm excited to see where they take it. They're building a huge world. Like Final Fantasy, each game's like self-contained as far as I know, and this could be I don't know, this could be great. See where this goes from here.
I think this is exactly what they needed too. First of all, to have this game do so well, be on the Switch, and it really going to be the catalyst for the franchise even more. I guess it was a little niche. Not as many people played the original Xenoblade Chronicles on the Wii.
Availability first.
Yeah, exactly, because I think it took us a little bit to get it over here in the U.S.
Yeah,
right?
it's this limited GameStop release, even at that too.
Right. And that's why I never picked it up because I never had the opportunity to. And then by the time I was ready and heard about it enough, then it was like scalpers galore. And then they were robbing you. And I'm like, I wasn't going to do that. So I think this sets it up very well for these HD remasters. They really need to do that, drive this franchise home, and then give us more because I think it's worth it.
Yep. And I'm very impressed with these developers. They turned this game around 2 years after X, and they're also working on Zelda. These are, I think, Nintendo's best developers. They're able to finish games and do them really polished, really, really quickly.
Yeah, and it didn't have many issues either. Yes, they had some updates to fix minor things, but it wasn't anything game-breaking.
And it was a team of 40 that built this game. It was a nice, compact team. Crazy.
Awesome.
Well, thank you, Benjamin. Where can people find you on Twitter or elsewhere?
Yeah, you can definitely find me on Twitter. My Twitter handle is Aquizero. It's AQUIZERO. And that's where I like to socialize the most. So definitely follow me there.
Great. Well, thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
No problem. Thanks for having me.